students, welcome back to today's Vidyanagar online science class. We are about to continue our chapter Force and Laws of Motion. And in today's class, we are going to discuss about Newton's second law of motion. What we are going to discuss in our today's class? Newton's second law of motion. Let's begin our today's class. Okay, as you know, the unbalanced force acting on an object brings that object in motion. When an object changes their position, there is change in velocity. If an object changes the velocity, there is a formation of acceleration, which means when we apply a force on an object, that object starts to move. The object starts to move means there is change in velocity. If there is change in velocity, the object gets acceleration, because change in velocity by time is acceleration. So the point you have to understand that when an object moves, there is change in velocity. If there is change in velocity, there is acceleration, because acceleration is the change in velocity by time. Let us discuss some examples in our daily life, or let us discuss some daily life activities. Okay, during the game of table tennis, if the ball hits the player, it may not hurt him. So while we play the table tennis, there may be the situations that ball hit on the player. If that small tennis ball hits on the player, there will be no problem for the player. It may not hurt him. On the other hand, the fast moving cricket ball hits the player, it may hurt him. So the small tennis balls hit on the player, it does not problem, it may not hurt him, but at the same time, if fast moving cricket ball hits on a player, it may hurt that player. Okay, and just like a truck parked on the roadside does not need any attention, because it is not moving, it is parked on the roadside, so it may not make any problems. But a moving truck with a small velocity or with a small speed may kill the person. So the truck parked on the roadside does not make any problem, but the moving truck, even its speed is very small, may kill the person. So these examples suggest that the impact or the effect produced by the objects depends on the mass and velocity. See, consider a small tennis ball and a fast moving cricket ball, which is having which is more big or which is having more mass. Definitely cricket ball. And also that cricket ball coming with a great speed. The ball is coming with a great speed, but on the other hand, the tennis ball with a small speed. So there also you can see mass and speed. Cricket ball, more mass, more speed. And just like in case of truck, the truck parked on the roadside is not moving because it is at rest, but the moving truck has some mass and the speed, right? So the impact or the effect produced by the objects depends on the mass and velocity. So based on the mass and velocity, we can decide the effect. Effect means, effect means when the fast moving cricket ball hit on the player, that player may hurt, right? So that hurting is the effect. So when a big stone hit on our body, we may feel pain, right? So that pain is the effect. So the effect or the impact produced by the objects depends on mass and velocity. Okay, when we combine mass and velocity, we get another property known as momentum. So when we combine mass and velocity, we get another property named momentum. Which is that property? Momentum. So what is momentum? Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. Mass into velocity is momentum. So when we combine mass and velocity, we get another property known as momentum. What is momentum? Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. When we multiply mass and velocity, we get the property named momentum, and the letter P denote momentum. P equal to mass into velocity. So what is momentum? Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. P equal to m into v. So m is mass and v is the velocity. Then next, what may be the SI unit of momentum? See, momentum, mass. What is SI unit of mass? Kilogram. The SI unit of mass, kilogram, and the SI unit of velocity, meter per second. So the SI unit of momentum is kilogram meter per second. So what is SI unit of momentum? Kilogram meter per second. What is momentum? Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. And what is the SI unit of momentum? Kilogram meter per second. Have we got that? Mass, kilogram, and V meter per second. So the unit of momentum is kilogram meter per second. The unit of momentum is kilogram meter per second. So what is momentum? Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. And which letter we can use for the momentum? P. So P equal to m into v. And what is the SI unit of momentum? Kilogram in meter per second is the SI unit of momentum. Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. The SI unit of momentum is kilogram meter per second. Okay, so momentum has both magnitude and direction. Momentum has both magnitude and direction. That means momentum is a vector quantity. What are vector quantities? Vector quantities are the quantities which have both magnitude and direction. If there is magnitude and direction, they are vector quantities. Vector quantities are the quantities which has, magnitude and direction. So momentum has magnitude and direction, so they are vector quantities. Okay, I told you the unbalanced force act on an object brings the object in motion. So when we apply force on an object, the object starts to move. When the object starts to move, there is change in velocity. Correct, no? When we apply force on an object, the object starts to move. When the object starts to move, there is change in velocity. Right? So change in velocity. Okay, that means there is change in momentum. There is change in momentum. How we can say that there is change in momentum? Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. When we apply force on an object, that object has some mass, right? And also on applying force, the object changes the position, and there is change in velocity. So both mass and velocity changes. If both the mass and velocity changes, there is change in momentum. Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. If the mass and velocity changes, that is change in the momentum. So on applying force on an object, the object changes the velocity, which means there is change in momentum. That is, force is necessary to change the momentum. Force is necessary to change the momentum of an object. If we apply force on an object only, the object changes the position. If the object changes the position, there is change in velocity. If there is change in velocity, there is change in momentum. So this is only possible by applying force, which means force is necessary to change the momentum. Clear? Force is necessary to change the momentum. If you apply force on an object, the object changes the position. When the object changes the position, there is change in velocity. When there is change in velocity, there is change in momentum, which means this change in momentum possible only by applying the force, which means force is necessary to change the momentum. Force is necessary to change the momentum. Okay, then you see, so you consider a situation, you are going somewhere and suddenly something happened to your car, like engine, there is a problem in the engine and suddenly the way, the car, break down or, something happened to the engine. So normally what you will do? You will ask any others to push the car, right? Okay, if a single person push the car, slowly the car starts to move. But at the same time, if 2 or 3 persons push the car hardly, suddenly the engine starts. If a single person push the car, it takes some time to start the engine. But at the same time, if 2 or 3 persons hardly pushes the car, may the engine starts suddenly. But there may be one chance, if the engine starts suddenly, there is a chance of sudden, switching off. Right, but at the same time, if we apply a small force for more time, automatically the engine starts, and once it gets started, then there is no problem for the engine works smoothly. But if we start the engine suddenly, see, at the sudden application of the force, the engine may start and at the same time it's switch off. Right, which means how much force is applying is not a problem, to how much time the force is applying is very important. So in the first case, a single person is applying force for more time. Slowly the person is applying force, so slowly the engine starts. Once it gets starts, then the engine works smoothly. But if we are giving a sudden push on an engine, may it start suddenly and may it stop suddenly. Right, which means how much force applying is not important, for how much time it is applying, it's very important. Which means, I told you, the force is necessary to change the momentum. Force is necessary to change the momentum. So if we apply this force for more time, the engine slowly starts, and after that the engine works properly. So the thing is that the application of the force to how much extent is very important. So when we are applying a force on an object, so that same force to how much time we have to apply, that is very important. Right, so force is necessary to change the momentum. Force is necessary to change the momentum, and it is depend on the time which the momentum is changed. Which means if we apply a force to some extent, like the engine, I told slowly the engine starts. So the point you have to get from this activity, how we can connect the change in momentum and time. These change in momentum and time help us to define the second law of motion. So the thing you have to keep in your mind, force is necessary to change the momentum. Force is necessary to change the momentum, and this change in momentum depend on the time rate at which the momentum is changed. So if we apply the force for some more time, the engine starts slowly, and after once it get work, then further it's the functioning will be very smooth. Which means the application of the force to what extent is very important. So the two terms which is necessary for us to define the second law, that is change in momentum and time. So force is necessary to change the momentum, and this depends on the time rate at which the momentum is changed. Okay, so with the help of this we can define our second law of motion. See, change in velocity by time, that is rate of change, right? So what is rate? Rate means divided by t. So rate of change of momentum means what? Rate of change of momentum means change in momentum by time. So that is our sentence. Force necessary to change the momentum, and this depends on the time rate at which the momentum is changed. So change in momentum and time. So change in momentum with respect to time is rate of change of momentum. So this rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. That is the statement of second law of motion. So second law of motion states that the rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. The rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force, which means when we apply force, the object changes their momentum. By applying force, there is change in momentum. So rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied unbalanced force. When we apply force on an object, the object changes the velocity, and if the object changes velocity, there is change in momentum, and this change in momentum up to some extent is rate of change of momentum, and this rate of change of momentum is proportional to force. So when there is any change in the force, it affects in the rate of change of momentum. So if you want to make changes in the change in momentum, we can make changes in the force, because both are proportional. Proportional means what? If there is change in one side, there is change in another side. So rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. When we apply force, the object changes their position, there is change in velocity. If there is change in velocity, change in momentum, and this rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. So the second law of motion states that the rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. The rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. That is the statement of second law of motion. Mathematical formulation of second law of motion, which means we are going to derive an equation for force. As per the second law of motion, rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. Right. So, which means force is necessary to change the momentum. Okay. So, we are going to make an equation for force with the help of second law of motion. Okay. For that, we need some terms like, m is the mass, and u is the initial velocity, v is the final velocity, t is the time, and a is the acceleration, and f is the force. Okay, m is the mass, u is the initial velocity, v is the final velocity, t time, a acceleration, and f is the force. Okay, and p1 and p2 are the initial and final velocity, final momentums. P1 is the initial momentum and P2 is the final momentum. M is the mass, U is the initial velocity, V final velocity, T time, A acceleration, F force, P1 initial momentum, P2 final momentum. Okay, so these are the variables which we need to derive the equation for force. Okay, so first we can make equations for initial momentum and final momentum. What is momentum? Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. Okay, so initial momentum P1 equal to, if it is initial momentum, we have to use initial velocity. But what about mass? Mass, there is only one, right? M. So you don't want to use initial mass and final mass. Mass is mass. Okay, M. And what is initial velocity? mu. So initial momentum P1 equal to mu and final momentum P2 equal to mv. Final momentum P2 equal to mv. So initial momentum P1 equal to mu because initial momentum. So initial velocity. Final momentum, final velocity. So P1 equal to mu, P2 equal to mv. Then now we are going to find the difference. Okay, change in momentum. How to find the change in momentum? Change in momentum means P2 minus P1, big minus small, right? Change in momentum equal to P2 minus P1. So change in momentum is proportional to P2 minus P1. Change in momentum is proportional to P2 minus P1. P2 minus P1. P2 minus P1. Then substitute this P2. P2 means mv minus P1 mu. Okay. Equal to, not equal to, is then proportional to. Okay. Proportional to, then both contain m. So mu take it out. M v minus u. M v minus u. So change in momentum is proportional to, why the term proportional? Because it is there in the second law, proportional to. So change in momentum is proportional to P2 minus P1 or equal to P2 minus P1. P2 mv minus mu is proportional to m common. So m into v minus u. Next you have to find rate of change of momentum. Rate of change of momentum. Rate of change of momentum. What is rate of change? Rate of change means by t. Rate of change means by t is proportional to what by t? M into v minus u. M into v minus u by t. Got it? How we got that term t? Because rate of change. Rate of change means what? By t. Rate of change of velocity. Acceleration, right? So rate means what? By t. So rate of change of momentum equal to m into v minus u. So you have to divide with the t. M into v minus u by t. What is v minus u by t? Acceleration. So that we studied that, acceleration a equal to v minus u by t. What is the equation for acceleration? Acceleration a equal to v minus u by t. So here you can see v minus u by t. So instead of v minus u by t, you can use is proportional to m into a. Why m into a? Because v minus u by t is acceleration. V minus u by t is acceleration. So it's proportional to ma. So rate of change of momentum is proportional to ma. So according to second law of motion, rate of change of momentum is proportional to the force. Rate of change of momentum is proportional to force. So instead of rate of change of momentum, you can use F. Why? Because according to second law of motion, rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied unbalanced force. So this rate of change of momentum is proportional to force. So F is proportional to ma. So next our task is to remove the proportionality sign. We have to make in the form of equation equal to. So how to remove the proportionality sign? If you want to remove the proportionality sign, you have to use a constant. If you want to remove the proportionality sign, what you have to use? You have to use a constant. So here that constant is k. So why now I used equal to here? Because I need to avoid the proportionality sign by this. So here k is the constant. Kma. So f is proportional to ma. F equal to kma. Next, in the next step, suppose or if k equal to 1. If k equal to 1, substitute f equal to 1 into ma. F equal to 1 into ma means what? F equal to ma. So this is the equation for force. F equal to ma. First, m is the mass, initial velocity, final velocity, time, acceleration, force. And P1 is the initial momentum, P2 is the final momentum. As you know, momentum is the product of mass and velocity. So initial momentum P1 equal to mu because initial velocity. Final momentum P2 equal to mv. Then change in momentum. Change in momentum means P2 minus P1. Change in momentum P2 minus P1. So P2 minus P1 means P2 mv minus mu. Then m is common, so take it out, m into v minus u. Next, you have to use the term rate of change of momentum, because if you use t term here only we get acceleration. Right? F equal to ma, the equation for the force is F equal to ma. So in order to get acceleration we have to use here t. So how is it possible to use the t? Because if you use the term rate of change means what? By t. So rate of change of momentum is proportional to m into v minus u by t. As you know, v minus u by t is a. So F is proportional. And how we used Vf here? Because according to second law of motion, rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to applied unbalanced force, or force is necessary to change the momentum. So instead of rate of change of momentum, you can use F. F is proportional to ma. The next task is to remove the proportionality sign. So we can remove the proportional sign by using a constant. So here the k is that constant. So F equal to kma. And at last we have to remove the k from the equation. For that we can use if k equal to 1. If k equal to 1, 1 into ma. 1 into anything, we get the same result. Same answer. So F equal to ma. So this is the mathematical formulation for the force in the second law of motion. F equal to ma. So what is F equal to ma? Force. Force equal to mass into acceleration. So in 8th standard you studied that force is the push or pull on an object. But now we got new definition for the force. Force is the product of mass and acceleration. What is force? Force is the product of mass and acceleration. F equal to ma. So force can be defined as the product of mass and acceleration. F equal to ma. Which means if we apply force on an object of mass m, that object changes the velocity. Change in velocity is acceleration. So by applying the force we can make change on the velocity. If there is change on the velocity, that object get acceleration. That is F equal to ma. So what is the equation for force? Force F equal to ma. Okay, F equal to ma. F equal to ma. Now we are going to make we are going to find the SI unit of force. Force equal to, what is the unit of kilo? Means mass, kilogram, and acceleration, kilogram meter per second square. The acceleration meter per second square and mass kilogram. So the unit of force is kilogram meter per second square. This kilogram meter per second square is also known as Newton, because this concept is introduced by Sir Isaac Newton. So the unit of force is kilogram meter per second square, and kilogram meter per second square is also known as Newton. So the unit for the force is Newton. Which is the unit of force? Newton. Kilogram meter per second square is itself Newton. But in order to honor the scientist Newton, we can use the term Newton for the force. So which is the SI unit of force? Newton. Which symbol we can use? Capital N. So which is the SI unit of force? Newton. Kilogram meter per square itself Newton, right? So the another name for the kilogram meter per second square is Newton. So why? Because the concept introduced by Sir Isaac Newton. So in order to honor, we can use Newton as the unit of force. So which is the unit of force? Newton. Which is the unit of force? Newton. N. Okay. Then next our task is to define 1 Newton. Define 1 Newton or unit of force. What is the unit of force? What is the unit of force means define 1 Newton. If anybody asks you what is the unit of force, the unit of force is Newton, and define the unit of force means what is 1 Newton. So 1 Newton is the force when 1 Newton is the amount of force when 1 kilogram mass of an object produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. So 1 Newton is the amount of force when the mass of 1 kilogram produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square, then the force, the amount of force applied is 1 Newton. So 1 Newton is the amount of force when an object of mass 1 kg produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. If 1 kg object produces 1 meter per second square, then the applied force is 1 Newton. So 1 Newton is the amount of force when an object of mass 1 kg produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. Then the unit of force is 1 Newton. 1 Newton is the unit of force when an object of mass 1 kg produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. If an object of mass 1 kg produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square, then the unit of force is 1 Newton. 1 Newton is the amount of force when an object of mass 1 kg produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. The amount of force is 1 Newton when an object of mass 1 kg produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. So 1 Newton equal to 1 kg into 1 meter per second square. So the unit of force is 1 Newton when the object of mass 1 kg produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. Let us discuss some examples that we observed in our daily life on the basis of second law of motion, right? So now we are going to discuss about some daily life situations. There you can see the action of second law of motion. Okay, so you may often see that, while playing the cricket, how you catch, normally you will catch the ball like this and you will do like this, right? Why you are doing, or why you are taking your hands to backside? Why you are doing that action? See, while you are playing, if you catch that fast moving cricket ball suddenly, you have to apply great force on the ball to stop it, right? So when you do that, while you are catching like this without doing this action, if you catch the cricket ball like this, normally what happens, the cricket ball is coming with a great speed. So when you catch that high speed cricket ball without taking this action, you see, you have to apply huge amount of force to hold that ball. So in that case, you will feel pain. So instead of that, if you do this action, by doing this action, you will get some more time to reduce the, you will get some more time to reduce the speed, or the ball gets little more time to reduce its speed. Okay, by doing this action, the ball gets some time to reduce its speed to 0, and thereby the impact is less, or you will not feel much pain. But when you catch like this, the great speed ball coming to your hand, and you have to hold this suddenly. For that you have to apply more force. But if you do this action, the ball gets some time to decrease the speed. So this is that action. The ball gets some time to reduce its speed to 0. Instead of that, if you catch like this, in order to hold that ball in your hand, you have to apply more amount of force, and it will be very painful for your hand. But if you do this action, normally what happens, the great speed ball reduces the speed to 0, and the ball gets some time to reduce its speed. And also, while you jump, you are jumping to the sandbed or cushion bed in the high jump. When you are jumping into sand bed or the cushion bed, why? If you are jumping into the plain space, if you are jumping into the plain space, you have to apply more force to stand there. Instead of that, if there is any cushion or any sand, you will get some time to reduce your speed to 0. If you are suddenly stopping, its impact will be very high. If you get some more time to stop, their impact is very less. That's why you may have seen that, while you are jumping, you are moving some forward, then you stops, right? Why? Because by that action, you are getting some time to reduce your speed. So if you catch suddenly, the great speed reduces to 0 in very short time. And if you do this, the ball gets some more time to reduce its speed. That's why how much force applying is not a problem, not a matter. To how much extent it is applying is very important. If you hold the ball or if you catch like this, its impact will be very less, because the speed of the ball reduces in very short interval of time. If you are doing like this, the ball gets some time to reduce its speed to 0. So the impact will be very less. And when you are jumping into the sandbed, you are getting some time to reduce your speed to 0. Instead of that, if you are suddenly jumping into the plain surface, the sudden decrease of speed in a very short interval of time. If it is very short interval of time, its impact or it will be very hurting for you. But if you get some time to reduce its speed, you will not feel much pain. Okay, so this is the actions of second law of motion in our daily life. So second law of motion states that rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied and balanced force in the direction of force. Rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied and balanced force in the direction of force. Okay, so we discussed very important points in our today's class. Keep it up in your mind and watch the video carefully. We will meet you soon with another video. Till then, it's bye. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.